Ladies, I know we'll have more ladies coming in, but meet Claude. And I'm so excited to get this out, not just internally, but get this out to the world.
Yeah.
This is an amazing human right here,
Oh,
ladies. So Chief,
well,
oh, it's a true story though. Chief Heart Officer over at Vayner, author of an amazing new book, which I can't wait to talk about. Mom,
thank you.
wife, culture builder,
Thank you. Thank you.
you know,
Yeah.
girls out doing. Hey, and by the way, TEDx speaker now,
10X speaker we got.
right? How
Yeah.
was that?
It was awesome. It
Yeah,
came together within 3 weeks and it was awesome. It was like boom, boom, you got 15 minutes up there to just
yeah.
go.
Just go. Were you prepped for that? Did they come to you? Did you go to them and go, hey, I wanted to do that?
No, this guy came to me
Okay.
and at first I thought it was like a pay to play,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, which
No,
was
you can't. You
no.
can't. Legally, you can't for TEDx.
I know, but
Yeah.
feel like I've gotten pay to pay plays before.
Sure.
But anyway, it was great in Stamford, Connecticut. And he was a guy that really liked to rehearse, and I'm not a big rehearser.
Yeah.
And the more I have to rehearse, the more nervous I get.
So funny.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, shoot, I'm not that scripted of a person.
Mhm.
So we rehearsed twice, and then I got up there and I'm just like, let me just go. And
That's awesome.
it was
Good for you.
fun. Yeah. Have you done one, Matt?
I've done two. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done two. And then I threw one at one of our campuses. I worked with a bunch of our high school students to put one of those on. And so
Cool.
what you just said, the rehearsing side, right? Both times as a participant, it was very much the same thing where they're like, oh, let's rehearse and and they wanted to really, really dial it in. I
Yeah.
wanted to take it from the other perspective of going, hey, how can I help you? And then if you want me to just leave you alone and let you go, like, let's just do that too. You
Yeah.
know, let's
Yeah.
just go. Do you like doing those? Do you like doing that kind? Do you like standing and you're good with that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do it a lot.
Comfortable.
Yeah, I do it a lot. I basically black out while I'm up there, and then
Yeah.
I come back off the stage, and I'm like, "Why do they want to talk to me? I'm just
That's
me."
That's so funny. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, you said you seemed very comfortable, very natural.
Thank you.
So we did a great job. Oh, so cool, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna dive into, we'll dive into the book. The ladies might have some questions over the course of the hour too, and we're just gonna have some fun and talk all things Claude to get that out there. But I gotta tell you, I don't know. We're like 5 years ish into the show, part 500 ish episodes. It's been a few years since we got to have you. Obviously, Gary's been on. We've had a number of just amazing humans, but if I had to go back and pick like top few guests that I just want to flip and hug, you're one of those.
I love that. I feel
Yeah,
the same way. I
it-
feel the same way.
very much just one of those. And so let's dive into the book, man. So
Let's do it. Hi,
you
everyone, by the way. Hi.
yeah, but if you're coming in late, you guys are in for an absolute treat, man. So get ready to rock and roll. Be yourself at work. Right. And so you've got so many ladies who are torn right now culturally with like identity and role and expectation. Right. And so you're obviously seeing some sort of gap, especially for women, especially for moms. It makes you feel like, okay, this book needs to be written right now. What are you seeing? What was the impetus behind this has got to come out now?
Gosh, it actually wasn't even gender specific at first.
Yeah.
It was just over the course of my whole working life, just seeing people shrink and shrivel and give their power away. I was one of those people a while ago, a long time ago, but and then I've always been one of those, unofficial mentors or, leading people, but also a mentor to over here and a mentor to over here. And every person I spoke to really had a very similar inner dialogue going on, which is like, they don't want me here. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. That person has better ideas. I got nothing to say. Might as well just let them take up the space. And then turning it, kind of victim. And then also like a scarcity mentality, which is like, there's not enough for me. There's
Hmm.
not enough space or oxygen for my ideas, that kind of stuff. And then when I became a mom 7 years ago, um, I realized as empathetic of a person as I thought I was, gosh, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, and I really thought I was,
Yeah.
but no, I was not. As and so it was a really, really amazing, humbling experience to become a working mom, also the breadwinner in the family, two kids, having to be like, all right, well, this is real.
Yeah.
This juggle is real, and what am I going to do about it? How am I going to empower myself to have boundaries? And how am I going to empower, all the parents here and outside in the world? So it kind of like was this great amalgamation of just like watching people suffer. And I
Mm.
don't want that. I don't
Mm.
want it to happen.
The I love what you said there too about being a mom and changing the empathy. And I think all of us that are parents, we get that there's things that you intellectualize and you understand that these things will happen as you go into parenthood, but you can't fully grasp it until you go into
Yeah.
parenthood,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Is there a way, do you think, is there a way to really truly teach that level of empathy to somebody that, 'cause again, my heart breaks for somebody who maybe they want to have kids and they can't have kids, right? Or
Yeah.
you just have some
Sure.
people, it's the life stage and they're not, there yet and they don't have kids yet. Is there a way to pass that empathy bug down, or does it just automatically get blunted a little bit because we don't have that experience? What do you think? I know there's no right answer on that, but
Yeah. I mean, I for one think you can teach empathy because it's a feeling and the actions, the output are kindness and compassion. So we teach that to our children at 1, 2, 5, 17, right? So I
mm,
do think you can teach that. I don't think empathy is me putting myself in Matt's shoes or Coach Whitney's shoes. I'll never be able to do that. Your lived experience is yours. So if I take that approach, then of course I could ride shotgun with you. I
mm,
can be a passenger with you. If I'm not having kids or whatever the case may be, I'm not gonna know exactly what it's like, that emotional weight of like, shit, my kid has a fever and I'm at work and I need to go home and really take them to, or I'm a working parent, or I'm not gonna be able to identify with the actual minute by minute of like, all right, Cheerios are all over the floor and I gotta walk out the door. Like,
mm,
but I can at least ride with you and say to you something like, I'm here. How can I support you?
yeah,
And so yes, you can be empathetic to
yeah,
parents if you're not a parent. Or
yeah,
I think you can. I definitely agree with you on that. I think you can teach it because just how I would teach my child is how I could teach someone else.
yeah.
And I definitely would say having children has created a lot of empathy inside of myself. But it is truly an interesting thing when you think about, can I teach this to someone else?
yeah,
Yeah, totally. And well, someone has to really have the appetite to want to learn or
right,
to want to ride shotgun with you. And then that opens up a whole like boundary issue and, how am I not going to take your stuff on? And then that's a great conversation to have with someone of where I start and stop and where you start and stop. And so like in the middle here,
yeah,
this is open. This is an open field. We can
yeah.
put anything we want into this soup jar, the soup bowl right here.
Very much so. The what you said earlier too about not feeling like there was enough space, for your voice and your ideas and playing small and how we'll tend to do that. What do you have like okay, here's where I really realized I not just understood, I actually took ownership of the understanding that being my full self is not a liability, right?
Yeah.
Like it's actually a leadership advantage to do that, was because there's a difference between going, okay, now I get it, again, intellectualizing it, and now I own this. Now I own this space, right? It's not a liability for me to show up fully as myself. Was there something that kind of shifted that for you?
Yeah. Matt, I've had it a few times in my life.
Yeah,
When I was in San Francisco for all of those years, I felt very much me because San
yeah,
Francisco is a very liberal place. And so you can really, listen, you can dress up as a clown and come to work, or you can do whatever you want for the most part, except, I'm a Gen Xer, so we sure as hell would not say like, I have to go to therapy at 2 o'clock today. Is that cool? Like you'd never do
sure,
that.
totally.
Oh God, I hope I can get a weekend appointment.
It's so funny.
Um, and then then I moved to London for 4 years or so. I was moved over to London, and that was a different culture, and that was an area in which I didn't feel safe.
Mm,
Really open up my entire life to people. So I dipped my toe in, in areas that felt like I could do that, but I didn't want to be like the poster child. The poster child, the poster American, the poster lesbian, the poster, all of that stuff. So when I came to Vayner in May of 2014, so I've been here 11 and a half years,
Yeah.
day one, I was like, oh yeah, I'm myself. The average age was 23. I was like, yeah, I'm in. And it was funny because people really gravitated towards the kind of one of the older people in the room, which was me.
Yeah.
Um, when I started the chief heart officer role 10 years ago, so about a year and a half into the Vayner, my adventure, I started to see and hear a lot of people, especially young men, say, I just can't hustle like Gary. Like, I just can't do it. I can't work 18 hours. Like, I want to, but I can't. And I'd be like, why do you want to?
Yeah.
Well, because that's how he gets, well, that's what Gary does. You don't have to do that. And so I'd say about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I went to Gary and I was like, the word hustle is not good for us. It's not a healthy word here. And he has not said, I have not heard him say hustle, like hustle harder or whatever since then. And so, just like this combination of just me feeling myself, me feeling like, I'm in my element, working with people who clearly just needed some reframing of what they were doing. And like, you are the CEO of your life. You are not here to live Gary's life or to think that you need to fit the mold that he wants you to, because he doesn't want you to.
That's right.
He just wants you to be you.
That's a great example. I've heard you say, heart is the central operating system.
Yeah.
And I love that title too, Chief Heart Officer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Having that, I love that. And helping people understand, that's a very tangible example that you just gave right there. Leadership, articulating the value of heart-led leadership in tangible business results.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a difficult thing.
Yeah. You need the sandwich.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all fluff. It feels
Right.
very soft, which
Right.
isn't, none of this is soft.
Yeah.
It's necessary life skills here.
That's necessary life skills. Yeah. So that some of the emotions, funny, you said Gen Xer and Gen X, and I think Whit and I both too, kind of falling in that category. And so we hear some of that. And there's a rule in our house. We've got a family contract. I say rule, we call them the family rules, but it's a family contract that we all created. And one of the rules in our house is to be an emotional ninja. And I'm very much pulling from my Gen X experience, right? And I've heard you define it as like emotional optimism.
That's right.
Right. So acknowledging emotion, but not letting it define you.
Yep.
How have you seen that play out at Vayner, especially considering you have a number of different generations that grew up with a very different experience, right? And so even just saying like emotional optimism, if you've got 3 or 4 different generations operating side by side within Vayner, that can define 3 or 4 very different ways, right?
1,000%.
How do you get that message across to everybody?
Yeah, well, I have to get it in the water quite a bit, and I rely on other people to also scale that message and get it in the water. I mean, when we hire people, no matter if you're a junior copywriter or you're the CFO, you're all going through the same orientation that I'm going to lead day one, which is our culture, why we think the way we do, why we behave the way we do, how to do that, so forth and so on. In your entire interview process, you're meeting 5 to 7 hiring managers that are all going to share with you what our culture is about. It's a culture of accountability. It's a friendly culture. It's a place where we want to like collaborate and do some really cool, innovative stuff, that kind of thing. And so you're going to start hearing this in your first, second, and third interview. Hear it from me. Then you're going to go and sit on the floor and you're going to be with your teams. So, but to answer your question, we have the boomers, and then we've got Gen Alpha here, in fact, and never the two shall meet. It's really funny because, well, the boomers and Gen Xers, I think we are teaching via experience what we went through, and we don't necessarily want someone to have to go through exactly what we went through and all of that stuff. And so it's mentorship. And then you've got the Gen Z and the alphas that are like, well, let me just teach you how to be super fast on social. Like, let me teach you the back end of TikTok. So there is a nice trade-off. It's just very different. You can't put it on the same level of education, or the only thing that we can connect them on is the human experience,
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
well said.
Yeah.
Well
I
said.
mean, I think that's what it's all about. Like, none of us are that different.
Yeah.
Different lived experience, the way we were brought up, our values maybe. But at the end of the day, the three of us on this screen right now do know what compassion feels like. We do know what satisfaction, happiness feels like. Generally speaking, we're all in the same kind of zip code here.
Yeah, 100%. It's well said. That's I've got to say, so I've gotten the opportunity to work with a number of different organizations, and a lot of it is on the, bridging some of the generational gaps that some of these organizations are seeing or feeling, and in all different industries, from retail to government sector to professional sports, whatever. There's this thing that is obvious to all of us, and almost everybody's answer has been, hey, we have just got to figure out, because they're all going to integrate around every single thing. But I think there is something interesting to what you just said of just going, look, what do we need to come together on?
Yeah.
And what are we okay operating in separate, sort of divisions around too? And I think it's very smart. The humanity is what brings us all together.
Yeah. And that's something like, well, we know that right now with this, the march of AI, which is
Yeah.
amazing and a whole revolution in itself, and it brings a lot of fear. Right now, AI isn't going to be able to put their hand on your shoulder,
Right.
my shoulder, and be like, I got you, Matt.
Right.
And you got this. I believe
Right.
in you. It's not going to happen. It'll be, they can say, I believe in you, Claude, go for it. But I don't even know who's behind that. Like,
Yeah.
what wizard is behind that? I would rather look at the whites of your eyes, the whites of someone's eyes when they say to me, I got you. And
That's
you
right.
got this. And that's human. That's human touch.
That's human. That's the whole. And again, I've heard you say people will forget what you did, but they never forget how you made them feel.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
we've always taken that approach from the education standpoint and on our schools and all that. That's very much that as well. I love that so much. Are you the AI conversation? And I so full disclosure, I have not been able to get the book yet. But
I'll send it to you tomorrow. You just send me your address.
oh, girl, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Send me your address. Whomever, send me your address.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait. So how are you thinking about AI? And I don't know if you even talk about it in the book, but I almost look at being yourself at work as almost this antidote to all of the people that are worried about,
Yeah.
okay, well, AI is going to come replace this. Like, that's irreplaceable, right? So
That's exactly right.
rudimentary look to it, maybe. So how are you looking at that? And how are you
Yeah.
thinking about that at Vayner?
I mean, well, in the book, I'll say I just touched on it, which is emerging tech and AI is here. It causes a lot of fear. It's not going to replace this.
Mm,
And so that's what I say in the book, because I don't go in, I'm not a techie, and I like AI. Here what we have is listen, we're a creative advertising agency here, and both insights now can be gleaned much faster on AI. Creative can be created. You can create beautiful pieces of art and work.
mm,
And so what we're trying to do is make sure that people are getting educated on AI and they're becoming very gifted and knowledgeable, but we're really trying to remove fear from the system.
mm,
No matter where you look, there's fear, whether or not it's the clients, whether or not it's, my boss, whether or not there's fear in the system. Because why? Or more microcosm of the macrocosm. So of course there's fear. But if we can somehow just understand that here, and I was just on an all hands with Gary an hour ago where he said this, he and I believe there's solutions to just about anything that's going to go on in these four walls,
mm,
of any of our four walls in the offices, with the exception of someone's health. We cannot affect that. But you want to change teams, you want to move, you want to get another review, you need to get whatever it is, like it just takes communicating. And that's where people start to stumble on their words. They're afraid
mm.
to advocate for themselves. They're afraid to advocate for their fellow coworker, you know, and that's where I think we have a lot of work to do as humans right now.
Is that so? Is that the, and I want to dive into kind of the crux of the book too. So is that I would imagine a huge part of that is the identity piece to alleviate that fear of being yourself, right? Defining what yourself
Yeah,
actually means at work.
exactly. Exactly. So, you know, you'll get this week, and the first chapter talks about what not being yourself, choosing to have armor and a shield up at work, what is that actually costing you? Like,
Yeah.
actually think about it. What is it costing you? Because there is a cost to it. If you're present, when you walk in the door, and right before you walk in these doors, or you turn on your laptop at 9 a.m., if you are present, you can feel what you're about to do. Oh, I'm going to bottle that all up and put it in my backpack. They're
Mm,
not gonna know that I'm some crazy dork. They're not gonna know that I love death metal. They're not gonna know that whatever. They're only gonna get this part of me, which is, well, we don't want this part of you,
mm,
right? So the next chapter is you are the CEO of you. Okay, if that's true, which it is, then what are you gonna do about it? You
mm.
better start to get to know yourself. You better start. So there's a whole self-awareness, road that I take people on with breadcrumbs, and it's like it's a trail. This is a trail map. That's all it is. There's nothing new in here. It's just the way I say it.
Yep. I love that though, but it gets people back to being present and understanding the identity of the who we are versus the role of what we do.
Thank
Right.
you.
Like, I mean, that's exactly
That's
that.
it. And
Uh,
yeah, and
Well,
as some
we're also dealing with a lot of comparison. So
yeah,
we want to be like the successful person instead of being ourselves because we think ourselves don't have the thing that people want. Because,
yeah,
well, there's 102 coaches out there. So what do I have to offer that's different from any of them?
yeah. But you do because you're coming, and I don't, you already know this, Whitney, but like you're coming from your lived experience and your well of what I call emotional fluency, your ability to speak human comes
mm,
from Whitney's lived experience. And Lydia's got a different emotional fluidity and emotional frequency because she's had this experience and Claude has this experience. So, and by the way, and we dovetail, right? Because we're not all that different, but it is what can you, John, Sarah, Jack, bring that is authentically you? Because that's actually who we hired.
Mm.
right. Oh, that's right. I've heard you say, so here's an interesting, at least in my head, this is I think about this a lot. I've heard you say, our day starts, it's like our day starts, 3 hours before we even
That's
come to
right.
work, kind of stuff, right? So you got a bunch of moms, amazing, ladies here who are already leading before breakfast,
That's right.
and so then they're navigating what seems to be, it's an overlap between the life they manage at home and the ones they lead professionally. How much of that is actually an overlap? How much of that is a different side of the same person? Like, is it relatively seamless? And I guess I'm just looking at, how do you look at it? And I'm taking this from a selfish perspective of, people will come over and they'll be like, okay, you guys as a family, there's a lot of organization. Everybody knows what everybody's doing. Everybody knows, like, the kids know exactly what the parents are doing. When I know, I can tell you right now, it's 3:30, Eastern as we speak. I know exactly what all three of my kids are doing because I know what they had planned for the day. Like,
Yep.
there's so much of a business sort of aspect, and people go, okay, well, that's sort of impersonal. And I'm like, man, it has allowed us to be the closest family of any family I've ever met. Like, there is a free, so when you're looking at the overlap of Claude at home, Claude at work, do you feel like it's seamless, or do you feel like it kind of chunks up? How do you feel about your own scenario?
Yeah. The emotional weight that I have as a parent, or the emotional, if there's stress or my kid's sick, like that's not necessarily something I'm going to share in totality. I will share with other parents,
Mm-hmm,
but it's not something that I'm just going to go blast.
mm-hmm,
And and I'm okay not sharing that because it's very personal. And I don't mean it's personal, it's no one's business. It's
Right.
personal. I mean, I don't know, unless there's another mom that is or another parent, I should say, that's dealing with kids with like crazy allergies as my 4.5-year-old has, and EpiPen this and that. Like, I'm
Mm.
not really going to go into it. I'm good. I'm good. And I'm okay
Mm.
being like, you know what, I'll check in at home or with the school when I have those 5 minutes, but she's okay.
Mhm.
She's okay. The teachers know how to give her a shot if if she eats something with eggs, which of course she won't, but
Ma'am.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So I guess I pick and choose, but I'm also in a role where it's important for me to pick and choose because people are looking at what is she doing? How does she act?
Right.
And so the thing that I will say that's within the book, but it's everywhere, is consistency is the key.
Yeah.
I showing up the same way
Yeah.
consistently, pretty much every day, the answer is yes.
That consistency too, and for the ladies live on the call, I know we're about 30 and we're about halfway in here too. So if you start thinking of some things and you've got some questions in particular, please start feeling free to put hands up, and we can come in and join the conversation on stuff. But we're talking about that consistency. Is there consistency for you as well when it comes to boundaries that you set to protect, presence and connection with family while leading in scale? Like, do boundaries
Yeah.
have something to do with that too?
Yeah. It's funny. I don't even have to think about that anymore in my
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
because I've lived it a very long time,
Yeah.
but it's something that I work to empower other people to have those boundaries. And so, for example, I have no problem saying, I really don't start until 8:30 and I'm done at 5:30. If you need me afterwards, I'll do that after bath and bed.
Hmm.
But like, that's my time. And sure, like if Gary calls, of course I'm going to pick up the phone.
Hmm.
But it's my job now to empower all these other parents, or if someone needs to go to therapy or whatever, like that's your time. You're allowed that time. This is like, we've got this, as a society have this need to just rush. Everything is like this urgency. And it's like, but
Yeah.
is it life or death? I don't know. There's no one in this office that's a brain surgeon operating right now on someone's brain.
Yeah.
We're doing social media ads for top Fortune 50 companies. That's really important, but it's not life or death.
Yeah.
So we got to put things into perspective. And I think the last thing I'll say, and then I'd love to hear whatever the people have to say, because I've heard my voice, is I have found that while there's a consistency in how I treat people, there needs to be the understanding that the way I'm going to speak with Whitney is going to be different than Matt, is going to be different than Rebecca, it's going to be different than Britt, because I'm a different parent to the children.
Hmm.
I have to be. I need to go to where you are. I can't expect you to come to me. That's that's not their job. My
Hmm.
job.
The so much yes to every single bit of that. The slowing down piece and the intentionality of who I'm talking to and who I'm speaking with. Um, One of the things I've heard you say a lot, joyful service.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
And we're very big on words within the organization. And, Socrates says the beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. And so when I look at joyful service, I look at defining that too. And I think there are elements of exactly all of those things right there. The intentionality, the presence, the slowing down enough to honor who you are with and what you are speaking about, and just fully being present for that so you can be joyful in service to other people.
Yeah.
That is so needed.
Yeah, right. Because listen, it's wonderful to be service oriented, and I firmly believe in that. But I want to be on the flip side. I want to be helping people unlock. I want to help people identify their own roadblocks, take their own splinters out of their hands, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what I want to do, because how empowering is it when you walk over to the first aid kit and you're like, okay, I'm a tweezer and some alcohol and I can do that.
Mhm.
Pretty cool, figuratively, metaphorically, but really, like if when you can take care of yourself, that's a great feeling.
Yeah. It's flipping amazing. Talk about, and again, ladies, this is easy for me, and Claude is easy for me. So if you all have questions, get the hands up. So I'll bring you in, but this is piece of cake on my side. The book writing process itself.
Yes.
How was that? How was that for you? Because that's no small task.
No, no. I mean, so I put the challenge to myself about 10 years ago, and I voiced it to Gary, and I
Yeah.
voiced it to my partner, so it was real. I voiced it to two people that I know hold me accountable. Otherwise, I just would have written it on a scrap piece of paper and then denied that I ever wrote it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until COVID that I actually had the time to start.
Mhm.
I hired we'll just call it a book strategist, for
Mhm.
lack of a better term, someone to really help me start to like frame all these themes and then get it into the, what do you call it? Not the manuscript, the proposal,
Mhm.
because that's like Greek. That's really Greek to me. And so that took, I would say, almost 3 years. And then the writing was, now it took almost 3 years because I started and stopped. I had my own limiting beliefs and like, I got nothing new to say here. Everyone's saying the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it took me a while to be like, okay, that might be true, but I don't know if they're saying it like Claude says it.
Yeah. That.
So once I put all that away, then I went into full steam ahead, and it
Yeah.
took about 2 solid years to write, with a job, with a family,
Sure.
you know, juggling a bunch.
It's that. It's how Claude says it. And hey, for better or for worse, there are certain people who may have heard it 1,000 different times, but they want to hear it from you because you're the one that's going to actually make them understand it and believe it and put it
Yeah,
in action.
yeah,
Right? Like
true.
that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's
That's exactly right. I gravitate more towards Brene Brown's take on positive psychology
oh,
than I do on someone else's, just because
there
of
you,
her wording
there
or
you
the tone
go.
of her voice. Yeah, that's
That's
right, Matt.
exactly yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do with that too? And I'm gonna make you call it out too. Like what are you doing to go bring your voice to others? Obviously with the book, but I'm saying what are using that as a vehicle?
Yes, yes.
Are you going to do more? I spoke from the stage, got the TEDx. Are you going to go into organ? Obviously, you are bleeding this into all of Vayner, but you guys also get to work with a lot of other organizations. Are you going to step in there and go help bring this to others
Yeah.
too? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So I've been really fortunate. I've been doing a lot of keynotes now for, I guess, the past 4 years, with Vayner speakers here. We've got a
Good.
speaking bureau. So I'm out there a lot, which is fun for me. Really, really fun. What I want to do immediately, is get this into high schools on up. I think it's very important that, because of everything that's going on in the world with our younger people and
Yes.
social media and isolation and mental health, I think it's really important to share share the stories, share what I used to be like, that wasn't I made my bed very uncomfortable for quite some time until I didn't, just like any other teenager that wants to self-sabotage. So schools, universities, that's key for me. And, tonight, like this one company has me going out to dinner with them, and they all bought books, and we'll do a round table, and I'll engage with them because I want to hear from people. So, but yeah, curriculum's coming up.
Good.
It's going to be fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing that.
So I'll talk to you about education another time, but we get it in there. It's so important to me that
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was on the phone earlier today with the state superintendent of Arizona. I was on the phone with another guy named Josh Ship who does a lot of speaking within the in the youth org. It's that we need
that we have to
yes, ma'am.
because if they're not getting it at home, where are they getting it?
That's right. That's exactly right. And then that's part of the reason and again, not to
Yeah.
that's part of the
No,
reason
but
build what we build and work with the parents on top of that too.
yeah,
And how do we support everybody?
yeah, yeah,
Our
yeah.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, man. It's
Thank
flipping
you.
awesome. All right, let's get some of these ladies in here.
All right.
Willow, let's get you in here. Willow, you got the man. I'm standing on my walking treadmill,
Hello?
and the walking treadmill just went kaput. Like
Oh no.
it was like smelling like an electric fire, and so I don't know. I outwalked it, so I got to get a new one.
Oh man.
Jealous. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
RIP
All right.
walking treadmill.
That's right.
Claude, it's so lovely to meet you.
Like that.
you shared, I'm curious. So you shared, I loved I am the alcohol and the tweezers, kind of, it can help identify some things. And we've been working a bit on identity, right? And who we are and all those pieces, past, present, future. And I'm curious to your perspective on, once we've kind of tweezed out those pieces and we've really landed a bit more in who we are, where do we, or what is the practice to which we begin to manifest, right, our next steps, like more of that future pace, more of that where we're headed in that identity? It's like, okay, wow, we're kind of in this new space. We're seeing things newly. The perspective's a little new. Some of the blinders are off. What is your offering, if you will, as we step into that next space, right? The CEO of our own lives kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I really hearken back to just the self-awareness practice. And for so many of us, it's a practice that we will be on for the rest of our lives. Some people may not start it until they're 90. Some people are starting it today. And so in the book, in so many different books, there's ways to find out what are your triggers, what are the things, you know, what are your values, what do you stand for, why do you think people enjoy your company? Okay, what are your triggers? How do you know they're your triggers? Well, because you've had outbursts every time someone cuts you off in a car or interrupts you in a meeting. Okay, that must trigger you to dinner table conversation when I'm making all this up, but I think you understand.
Yeah.
There's a root to most things. There's a root to most things, and that's their business. That's not my business, right? But finding out what are your ticks, what are your talks, and being very aware of that so that you can then regulate your emotions in the workplace or in the car if you're driving and you want to flip someone off. That's like humanity 101 to me. And it just takes someone having the courage, and also I would say the optimism to know that you don't have to go places alone. You don't have to go into this self-awareness journey alone. There are people such as coaches, such as therapists, such as friends, such as teachers that can help you along this ride. You don't need to go there because some of it can be very scary, right? You could be carrying shame and you don't even know it. So it is a journey of itself. And then there's the consistency again of showing up once you got that, which again, I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. I'm constantly learning more about myself and maybe throwing some things out that I don't need anymore. But continuously, the learning part, the sharing part, and then showing up as me day in and day out and day in and day out. And I wouldn't be able to show up as me day in and day out, day in and day out if I didn't know who I was. I would literally be like, I'm gonna just throw this dart and maybe I'll just be like, oh yeah, Charlotte today, and tomorrow I'll be like Gary, and the next day I'll be like Matt. Like, no, I want to be Claude. I've worked hard on getting to know her and getting to like her. And that is the journey which I think we need to bring into our younger people for sure. So that's kind of the continuing education of it, but you need to first open the door and be willing to look at, what do you see there that you might not like? Why is it there? Let's figure that out. And then that could be a beautiful breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
How much do you rely on your own curiosity about yourself, or analyze? And when I say curiosity, I mean almost analyzing, like, okay, what was my trigger? Why did I want to flip that person off in traffic? What was it about? What is really bothering me? How much do you lean into your own kind of, I'm going to look at myself in the mirror versus some trusted confidants to provide a mirror for you? And I don't think there's a right answer to this. I'm just saying, like, how do you view that?
So I trust myself implicitly.
Yeah.
And there are probably about 4 or 5 people in this world that can call me on my shit.
Yeah.
And Gary is one of those people.
Sure.
That were, that close, that I know wherever he's coming from are my best friends. They just, they want the best for me.
It's genuine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's genuine. So like, I'm cool with that because my mirror may not always be as crystal clear as someone else's mirror when they're looking at me, right? They're looking at me
Sure.
as a subject. So yeah, I'm open. I'm open. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say that because the other day I had someone tell me who doesn't really know me, well, you're just like this.
Mm.
And in my head, I was like, oh no, that person doesn't know me. They think I'm just like that, but they're just like that.
Right. And so they were showing you their mirror. That's always, yeah, it is. It's such a fascinating, it is such a fascinating thing
Yeah.
to learn. That is such a and I won't pretend like I've got it nailed down. I mean, it's one of those things where it's, okay, somebody says something and you've got to go through all of this of like, okay, what they're saying correct, regardless of who this is what they're saying correct? How do I respond to that? What was my initial gut reaction? And if I go, no, it's definitely not that, do I think it's that? Do they know me well enough? Like, you just play all of these games. You ask a million questions all at once, try to analyze, do I take that? Do I not? Is that constructive? Is it not?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I usually say to people is, you know what, take the gift, leave the rest.
Sure. That's right.
There's a gift in most things. People don't have bad intent. There's no ill will here.
Yep.
You know, so like maybe there's a gift in it, and then I can just chuck the rest into the Hudson River there.
Oh, I love that. Yep.
I think there's a lot of growth though inside of yourself to be able to say, okay, I can't see myself right now. So I know that there's people who I trust, that I know there's certain places that I get in where it's like, yep, I'm going to call this person because this person is going to steer me in a direction. It might not be the right direction, but like you said, taking the gifts and throwing out the rest, but having the willingness to ask that other person to be the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And also being accepting or trusting of what that person that you just asked is going to bring into your world, because, you know, they're going out on a limb here too.
True.
That's right. Oh, really good. All right, Holly Logan.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Claude. Thank you for being here today. I have a question out of curiosity. So I've listened to Gary on several podcasts, and he's obviously a very emotionally connected male. But out of curiosity, do you find more resistance among men or women in like having a heart-centered workplace? Because when you're doing trainings or talking about this, and I ask because I came from a workplace. I'm a stay-at-home mom now, but that was dominated actually by women. And it was interesting because the majority of them, I felt like, could not be emotionally connected. It was like they all of a sudden stopped in a way being a mother, stepping into it was in the medical field.
Yeah.
And I always found that funny, that they could it's, I'd have to think of a specific scenario, but that their heart almost came out of it when they stepped through that door, even though it was pediatrics and you're a mother. But it's like they had to have that dominance in a way. So I'm just curious, do you find any resistance or more resistance in males versus females when you do this type of work?
Question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would probably say you're asking me, so more so with men. I do. That could be because of the age groups I work with here. The majority are Gen Z millennials. The majority are finding their spouse getting married and having their first, or like that's where we are. When I started, average age was 23. Now it's about 31 and a half. So we've really aged up. I would say there's still that, oh, that's just soft stuff. You know, oh, there's that mushy gushy stuff. And, you know, that obviously is extremely demeaning when someone says that or treats you like that. But I also realized it's not personal. You know, it's not personal. That person thinks that they need to come in with their guard up, male or female, and you know, and go to town. And that's not this culture, but I have been in those cultures before, where it is all of a sudden. Actually, I've been in those cultures where there are very strong alpha women, which actually I probably have an allergic reaction to.
Yes, it is different. So when I talk medical field, it used to be, as a nurse, most of them used to be men in the medical field. And I have stories from other nurses of you had to stand up when when a doctor walked into the room, the culture was the nurse stands up. It was, in that old fashioned thought. But
Yeah.
then I was more intimidated by the female dominant people in my work who seemed emotionally detached
Yeah.
than the men. And it was then when I stepped away, hearing the stories of things, it's just interesting. And again, hearing, apologize, I don't know, not familiar with your work, but hearing Gary, who is definitely emotionally connected to his own story, especially of, I know he talks about his parents and just being very emotionally connected. It was interesting to think about. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I really, Coach Whitney has an allergic reaction to that too. It just, to me, I'm just like, well, which is which? Who are you? But I'll say that really quickly. There was a gentleman who used to run our London office that's no longer with us anymore. And he really had a very difficult time connecting with folks, and folks really could not connect with him. And he stayed in his office a lot. I went to his house for dinner twice, and he has 3 kids. And when he would walk in the door and these kids would come running up and grabbing him, I saw a different person.
Yeah.
So I said to him one day, you know, that love that you gave out to your kids, if you could do half of that, this would be an incredible culture. If you could show the people that are working here just half of that emotion,
Mhm.
spot on. He
Yep.
wasn't able to do that, and that's okay. But it was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a question of that takes a lot of vulnerability to bring into the workplace. And am I going to, be judged on, I think that I have to have this particular persona. And if I show up like how I really am, because I think for a long time with myself, I'm very vulnerable and I can connect with other human beings. And I joke around that I have very leaky eyes. And, when at first in coaching, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't think that this is going to work. And, as I've been many years into this, it's something that I get told frequently is that I'm easy to connect with. But that took work to be comfortable with coming in as who I am and not feeling like I had to put on another persona.
Yeah, and that's very amazingly courageous of you to share. And I imagine that those that you coach would like to hear that too.
Hmm.
Everyone's got something going on, right? Everyone's got something. Doesn't mean my backpack is completely light every day when I walk in here, because I
Right.
might be carrying that 8 in the morning conversation I had with someone in a different country, or I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Yeah, I could be just, because I'm human.
Yep.
So I do my very best to not compartmentalize, but just to be like, all right, Claude, you got this. Like, there's what, so what? I'm gonna have a hard day and I'm gonna say to someone like my kid or this or that, yeah, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay. These are choices we make, right, Whitney? These are choices of how we want to show up day in and day out.
So good. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're doing the work you're doing, and I don't just mean obviously with it with Vayner, but leading on a bigger stage and going into other organizations, going into other arenas, getting into the education space, and just bringing the message that needs to be. I think it's especially with the way culture is going and the opportunity, there's always an opportunity to pit yourself against somebody else. There's
Yeah.
always an opportunity to try to take a side on something and automatically it's Bloods versus Crips. It doesn't matter if you don't like a, we're gonna brawl. Like there's so many opportunities for that. And we so lose ourselves in that. We so give away ourself to
Yeah.
those things, right? And so
Yeah.
this is, I think, a conversation that needs to be had everywhere.
Thank you. I'm stoked to be here. Literally, send me your addresses. I'm happy to send you books.
You're awesome. No,
This is a great group. I appreciate everyone and sharing for sure.
and honor is absolutely on this side. So we're gonna do, and I'll connect with you on the book side too. I want to get books into the hands of everybody here, but I want to get them in, I want to get the word out and everything too. So as we send this out, where do you want everybody to go? Do you want them to go to Amazon? Do you want them to go to the website? You want them to go
Um,
to
Yeah, if you're going to buy individual books, just go to Amazon, or you're independent, they're around. And if you want to buy books for more than, like, I would say more than 10, then you should come straight to me, because then we have a whole bulk, massive discount. You get a lot of Claude time, a lot of this and a lot of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So it's good. Tomorrow is 2 weeks that it's been out. Crazy.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. It's so
Great.
good. Well,
Yeah.
I reserve this compliment for those where I think it absolutely makes sense. And one of the best things anybody ever said to me, Seth Godin, who's a fellow New Yorker, says, "Man, you're doing work that matters, and you're doing it well." And I want to extend that to you too. Doing work that matters, and you're doing it so well,
Thank you.
so much. So.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to let the ladies are going to go into a little bit of a debrief now. I'm going to connect with you here later on. And I'm going to send you, yes, I'll send the address, but I want to get an address from you, because I have some things I want to send your way too. And just know that we are always here in
Thank you.
support too.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so, so much, Matt. Thank you. It's so good to see you after too long.
Far too long. I agree. Thank you, Claude. I appreciate you. Be in touch.
See ya.
Thanks for being here.